Hey everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. Happy Monday, and today we're taking a look at the cryptocurrency frenzy as viewed through the lens of governments from all over the world, including China. Alex Saunders is making an apt comparison to gold, as are others on Bloomberg. Bankers in $220 billion scandal offered gold to hide client cash. Another look at the dishonest financial system that exists out there in the world on news.bitcoin.com. When Bitcoin overtakes gold, exactly how high can it go? Bobby Lee has one prediction in particular. He's saying $1 million, not as soon as John McAfee has said it's going to hit $1 million, but soon enough, within a decade. But before all that, let's take a look at the markets today. We are down a little bit on coinmarketcap.com, 240 billion, just below that 239, with Bitcoin at $8,748. We have slipped through that support. That means it's down 1.16%, and projects down 1 or 2 percentage points overall. Bitcoin dominance at 66% flat. So exactly why are world governments jumping onto the crypto and blockchain train? Article here by Alicia. Digital assets are undoubtedly the new black. But what are the reasons for the sudden urge of countries to jump on board the crypto and blockchain train? So as Alicia contends, cryptocurrency is all of a sudden really a buzzword for a lot of different reasons. You have countries all over the world that are making headlines with their either direct or indirect endorsements of crypto and blockchain. China, for example, is continuously working on their digital project. Then there's Turkey. President Erdogan has recently announced that the country plans to finish testing digital lira in 2020. And most recently, the EU, the European Union, an entity that comprises 28 member states, has stated that it is considering launching a virtual currency of its own, and it's called the Euro coin. And in no particular order, there are a number of reasons why cryptocurrencies and blockchain, of course, are taking off all over the world. And there are reasons why governments want to pay attention. They don't want to be at the back of the line. They don't want to be the last people, the last groups on these bandwagons. Of course, everybody's kind of jockeying for that first mover advantage. And really just in a utilitarian sense, for reason number one, blockchain and crypto is important because of the need for speed. Moving capital, of course, and moving it quickly is a must. So that's a big reason right there. The ripple effect is also something that comes into play. The fact that multiple big boys are considering the introduction of digital assets is sufficient for many political players out there. And maybe if you were on the sidelines or you hadn't heard about Bitcoin or crypto or blockchain, all of these congressional testimonials, like in the form of what Mark Zuckerberg did recently, that's the kind of thing that's garnered a lot of media and press attention. And it makes people chat about this at the water cooler, and I'm sure the higher ups are also taking note. Circumventing, quote, bad things. It is not coincidental that countries like Russia and Turkey, for example, are feeling benevolent toward introducing digital versions of the ruble and lira. Both are authoritarian states and are either already subject to sanctions or about to be. So these sanctions are bad things. And from a free market perspective, if they have an opportunity to bypass sanctions imposed by the US and thus the US dollar's financial hegemony over them, then why not? They're going to be able to circumvent those bad things with cryptocurrency. I'm not necessarily endorsing those regimes. I'm not saying that that's something I want to see happen, but from their perspective, of course, they've got to look out for their own interests, and it stands to reason that they will. Another reason is the mesmerizing nature of Bitcoin and not Libra. Of course, it is a social, a technological phenomenon, and there are a lot of reasons why it is appealing to many different people on a lot of different levels. Really, transparency and honesty being the top of the list, at least for me. That GD hyperinflation, unlike any other sovereign currency, whether you're talking about Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, but let's use the example of Bitcoin. It's mathematically programmed to be deflationary over time, not inflationary. And at the same time, Dr. Usman Shohan, we've talked with him in the past in our podcast. He's a friend of mine and an economist who ranked among the top 10 business authors in the world on the Social Science Research Network. He suggested that the reasons for the introduction of digital currencies vary. And he quotes, "There are two approaches. Independent developers create a currency that becomes so popular, a government adopts it, the first type. Or the government in question researches and develops a currency of their own, second type," says Shohan in an exclusive comment for Altcoin Buzz. And as we've been discussing, these governments around the world certainly are warming up to Bitcoin and crypto and blockchain. First example of which here is China. Bitcoin called, quote, first successful application of blockchain by state-run Chinese newspaper. Don't forget that all of a sudden, they're not only not banning Bitcoin. They're not only not banning blockchain and crypto, but they're saying tentatively that even Bitcoin mining is okay, something that was severely frowned upon until just recently. But now, Chinese state news agency Xinhua has published a front page article entitled, quote, Bitcoin, the first successful application of blockchain technology, according to Sino Global Capital CEO Matthew Graham. This is significant because Xinhua is a state-run newspaper, and it's actually not even the only one that has recently embraced blockchain. As reported by U.Today, the People's Daily, the official mouthpiece of the Communist Party of China, recently called blockchain, quote, a breaking point for the country to overtake. Check out the rest of the information here pertaining to President Xi Jinping's recent comments. If you're not up to speed on what's happening there really is a 180-degree shift in terms of their sentiment, in terms of their outlook on blockchain. The leadership certainly seems to be warming up to it. Here now, Alex Saunders on Twitter, at Alex Saunders AU. Should we ban gold too? And this is in response to a Bloomberg article. Bankers in $220 billion scandal offered gold to hide client cash. Here it is. At the height of the Danske Bank dirty money scandal, the lender actually started offering gold bars to wealthy clients to help them keep their fortunes hidden, and that's according to documents which have been seen and revealed now by Bloomberg. Danske Bank, which is being investigated across Europe and in the US after failing to screen out about $220 billion that gushed through its non-resident unit in Estonia from 2007 to 15, has now shuttered its operation at the heart of the scandal. That's after local authorities kicked Danske out as the scope of the affair became clear. And here's a great quote by Jacob Debenroth Bernoff, a Copenhagen-based lawyer who specializes in compliance. And he's talking about how the analogy is that whether it's cash, whether it's gold, whether it's some other asset, digital, physical, whatever, here's the point. Quote, gold is a great asset for money laundering as it has a steady value. You can sell it without losing much value, and you can get cash and a receipt in hand. If you buy a car or something like that, the value drops immediately. But the implication is that not with gold. The value is steady across time and relatively low in terms of volatility as well. So back to Alex Saunders' point, we had this massive $220 billion scandal involving a major European bank, involving a major commodity and a major asset that is viewed to be stable across pretty much every market in the world. So what's the implication here? Well, if you extend the same logic that people have been using with Bitcoin, then I think rightfully you should be banning gold, because clearly here it's a tool and an instrument of the criminals. On all this to say that if you treated gold in the same way you treated Bitcoin, i.e. unfairly, this is the result that one may come to. This is an unbelievable scandal. It's astounding that they had the gall to even try to get away with it, and yet here we are. And believe me, this is not the only bank that's dabbling in all of these dishonest things, but it's a prime exhibit of exactly why this system right now should not be blindly trusted, and provides great examples as to how it can be improved. Check out the rest of this Bloomberg article here, but I think the point is quite salient. Gold, just like cash, is much less traceable, is much less reliable than Bitcoin, and lends itself much more to money laundering and nefarious activity. Here on news.bitcoin.com, when Bitcoin overtakes gold, how high can it go? Flashy Bitcoin price speculation is a favorite game of crypto Twitter news outlets and commentators all over. But sensation aside, there remains a well-grounded case for continued rise in price where top cryptos are concerned. And should Bitcoin's market cap overtake that of gold, an asset limited in many ways compared to crypto, as we've just seen, prices could indeed be out of this world. Okay, for context, first of all, we've always discussed the fact that really gold's global market cap is at about $8 trillion. That's actually up. Last year at this time, the precious metals cap sat closer to about $7 trillion. So not a bad price rise in terms of valuation over the course of just about a year. Peter Schiff, major gold bull, has weighed in and criticized one of the cryptocurrency analysts in this space. He said on the 10th of November, it's nonsense like this that is actually taken seriously, that keeps the hodlers on board while the whales quietly abandon ship. Bitcoin price will hit $1 million after 2 more bubbles, and he attributes that quote to Bobby Lee. So while Schiff's frequent criticism of the U.S. Federal Reserve is well received by many in the crypto space, His attacks on Bitcoin and views of crypto influencers and innovators such as Bobby Lee are generally not. Lee is the CEO and founder of the Ballet Crypto physical crypto wallet and brother of Litecoin creator Charlie Lee. And he recently predicted that, quote, the flippening will happen within 9 years and Bitcoin will shoot up to over 500,000 US dollars. The flippening, of course, referring to the overtaking of gold and that market cap by that of Bitcoin. Bobby Lee tweeted the following: gold is about $8 trillion today, which is 50 times the worth of Bitcoin. I predict the flippening will happen within 9 years and Bitcoin will shoot past at $500,000 per Bitcoin. And with all of the money printing that's happening globally, Bitcoin will actually very likely be over $1 million. You can also read about Bobby Lee's prediction here on coinounce.com. I don't think it's the most outlandish suggestion in the world to say that Bitcoin's market cap will eventually overtake that of gold. We are moving in a more digital direction as far as really many of our properties, many of our intellectual properties, but also our commodities as well. And there is a case to be made if you really want to secure in an optimally transparent manner, in one that is tamper-proof and one that is trustless and permissionless. Bitcoin is the way to gold. And as we've just seen with this Bloomberg piece here in stark juxtaposition, really there are a lot of advantages and benefits to pursuing gold as the world's future digital asset, the world's future reserve asset. And in an evolutionary sense, perhaps it will overtake gold. Will it be 9 years? That remains to be seen, but I certainly think it's doable. So check out the rest of this article. Let us know your thoughts on the issue. Let us know whether you agree with Bobby Lee's prediction. I'm reluctantly and cautiously optimistic. But that about rounds it out for today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels and keep checking back into altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, share, hit the bell to receive notifications if you've enjoyed today's video. Best of luck, of course, if you choose to invest on this Monday. Happy Remembrance Day. Happy Veterans Day for our friends in Canada and the US. And as always, we hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.